When the United States President Joe Biden spoke recently about the legalization of cannabis in the country, some would have wondered if Nigeria was next. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has said that Nigeria cannot emulate other countries legalizing cannabis cultivation and usage due to the evil it will bring to the country. Now, according to the Executive Director of the NDLEA, Buba Marwa, about 15 million Nigerians take illicit drugs, and that is a very high prevalence, which is approaching 3 times the global prevalence. PQ.
Yeah, I know that this controversy has been there for some time, but I agree absolutely with General Marwa that cannabis is not candy, and we can't afford to legalize it. And look at his argument is cannabis sativa is the only illicit drug that is native to us here. If you legalize it and you deceive yourself that you can actually achieve controlled cultivation. What is controlled cultivation? Even some drugs that we are trying to control, like tramadol, like codeine, like even benylin, drugs that people were supposed to ingest so that they can find relief from cough. People are now abusing them. Cough mixtures are now what people now take as drug. You know, tramadol, people are abusing tramadol now. They give people money overseas to produce tramadol and bring them in containers to sell to our people who are already victims of tramadol abuse. Rofinol, the date rape drug that damages women in an indescribable way. They are supposed to be controlled, but they have been abused. So the point that one is making is, yes, some drugs ought to be controlled. They are actually supposed to be controlled in our country, whereby, okay, it's only across the counter. I mean, that is only by doctor's prescription that you can access them. But what do we see? People are still getting them across the counter and abusing them. If we are saying, we can make money from controlled cultivation of this thing, we should think of the disadvantages. These days, you see a boy who is not more than 12 years is already smoking Igbo cannabis. He's already smoking cannabis. We are told that 15 million Nigerians, I mean, about 30 million Nigerians are already into drugs. The rate of prevalence in our country is more than 3 times the global average. So that means we have a problem. Let's manage the situation the way we are doing. And Marwa and his men are doing a good job to come up with the idea of legalizing cannabis. We have not legalized it. They are already smoking it as if it's been legalized. Go to motor parks, you see them. These days, they even smoke in the open. You know? Even girls. In the past, you could not find a girl smoking in there. Today, small girls, just some of them still in 100 level in the university, 200 level. They are already smoking hemp all over the place.
In every 4 drug user, there is a female.
Yes. More and more women think that it makes them feel hip. You know, maybe it's still part of trying to level up with the men. Yeah. So if the men are smoking Colorado, you too, you want to smoke Colorado. So that's not how to level up with the men. The rate of drug addiction in our country is bad enough for anyone to even be suggesting that cannabis should be legalized. I don't know. People sometimes suggest these things without thinking deeply. And there's a lot that is wrong with one-track reasoning. You are looking at it, there are benefits here. That is what you see. You are not looking at how it could be abused, you know, and how homes can be destroyed, how lives can be ruined by constant ingestion of this illicit drugs. Yes, there is medicinal Even for they use it to do hair cream and all that. You know, it has some properties that are useful to mankind, but it doesn't mean we should, as if we want to just surrender our country to drug addicts, because they are the ones who will now graduate. When they have money, they will turn us to Mexico or turn us to Colombia, where the drug lords are the king. Remember Escobar? Escobar at one point looked like was even stronger than the country. So we cannot get to that narco-terrorism stage. But we can only help ourselves by controlling cannabis intake the way we are doing, arrest them, raid the places where we know that they are always there. Whether it's somebody wearing tie is coming from his bank, if you catch him with cannabis, arrest him. Why should you be smoking cannabis? Are you whining me? Why should you be smoking cannabis?
Even those who are supposed to arrest also indulge in this crime.
Well, you are going, that's another dimension you are bringing into it. Those who are supposed to arrest, being involved. Well, I agree with you that some of our law enforcement agencies,
they even buy it from those boys. They take it from
the boys. They know
the
the sellers, they know the suppliers, and they buy. But in most cases, they even get their regular supply so that they look the other way. That happens, and that is part of what we are saying. If it is this bad, when it is illegal, what will happen when it becomes legalized? So I think those who are calling for, we want to copy everything done abroad. It's only the good things we fail to copy. Now, because America is thinking about legalizing or decided to legalize, we should follow suit. They have the control measures in place. We don't have. If they legalize societies where gun is legalized, they have control measures to ensure you don't put it to dangerous use. Societies where they have legalized some certain substances and drugs, they have the measures to ensure they will get to you. And you also know you will be picked up if you use it illegally. But here, even the things that are legal, we don't know how to control them. Even the things that are put to everyday use, we find it difficult to monitor their use. How much more? I think those who are calling for the legalization of cannabis should pay regular visits to the psychiatric hospital at Yaba. I've had reasons during the research to go there almost on a daily basis for 2 months. And I tell you, I can convince you that 60% of cases brought in there are due to intake of drug. And more than 90%, more than 80% of that 60% is hemp.
Yes. Before now, how many, we didn't even know about some of these drugs now.
These are, they are even not as available. When you pass through the railway track in Oshodi, either during the day or at night, in fact, during the day, you see their tray. They have their tray, and they are arranged broad daylight. They are arranging it.
As if we have legalized
and girls come, pack them, and go and sell. Those girls selling when they
ingest it too. No, it's
and it is still illegal. You go to some parts of some states I don't want to mention. We all know the states. One here in the southwest.
They grow it a lot.
You go. I was on an assignment that has to do with cocoa production. And you know, when we went into those areas, they would tell me this one is also a very lucrative farm, but this is Indian hemp. This is Igbo they are planting here. Side by side cocoa farms, people plant this thing, and it is still illegal. The implication on our youths. Somebody told me that a woman, I won't say a lady because she's in her 40s, told me that is some young boys that told her that hemp is better than cigarette. Why is she smoking cigarettes? She should be smoking hemp. The hemp is better. And since 3 years now, she has been smoking hemp and she
finds this that is better.
This is somebody who is a single mother training a daughter. And she is always lamenting that the daughter is not behaving well. And I just laugh. And the daughter knows that you smoke Indian hemp. You expect her to.
No,
if you understand the implication of the intake on our society, we won't call for legalization. Right. Maybe we can begin to call for a situation whereby the advantages can be taken over by an agency of government or whatever. See to it that the little we need for medical and other reasons we have, but not to legalize
it. There have been several outbursts recently, and when the agency decides to burn these illicit drugs, a lot of times Nigerians look at the amount, the billions these illicit drugs may have cost. Is this some sort of lack of awareness on our part as Nigerians that we do not understand or pretend to not understand the implication of these drugs?
A country that is gradually being overtaken by Indian hemp smokers, you should not be surprised. People in high places, senators, big people, they are Indian hemp smokers.
For leisure.
So for leisure. Why would people not have this kind of attitude? I'm sure that some people will almost suffer a seizure when they see NDLEA burning Indian hemp. Their blood will boil. That was going on. It's just like people who are into push betting, for example, the old push betting. You cannot divorce them from it. No. One even called the coupons. Bibeliga. That this is our Bible. The coupons now, they'll stack them together.
They used to have it.
So what can you say about those people? They are looking at the money, but if that quantum is allowed to go into the system, it's a massive destruction that it will do to people. And unfortunately, even our musicians too, they will be singing. You
need to see the videos.
Boy, I want to go and say, they will be singing, glorifying
illicit drugs.
Glorifying Indian hemp. Why? How can you say you want Igbo and Shayo? What is the meaning of that? You can want Shayo, that one is okay, but Igbo, you can't be, no, now it's wrong.
He wants it and
but they don't see, you see.
And these are role models.
It's not as if he smokes it in the open, but his own power base, his own base, his core of supporter or fans is trying to galvanize them.
Yes, he needs their support.
Yes, so that is, and majority of our young men, they are into it. Some will drive all the way from the island, well dressed, with expensive suits and all that. Bankers, they will drive straight to somewhere in Ikeja here that you and I know. That's where they are able to smoke it.
Sit down.
It's at that point that they will now, their body will come down. Some can't go to the toilet unless
they have
your life is ruined. If you cannot go to the toilet without
substance,
the stick of Indian hemp in your hand, then you know that you finish yourself. You can live a healthy life by saying no to drugs. And those trying to legalize cannabis, we will fight them. We are going to fight them. We are not going to leave them alone. We are not going to ruin Nigeria of our time.
All right, so while trying to round off, is talking about illicit drugs in use in Nigeria, is there a need for policy appraisal?
Yes, there is, and we must keep working on it. I want to see, one of the things I appreciate this current administration for is the appointment of somebody like General Buba Marwa in NDLEA. It is not, people will tell you, Marwa is the kind of person that will do something very little and go to the media. I tell you no. When I drive out of my community and I hit the main road, every morning I am stopped by NDLEA boys now. They have their guns, about 6, 7 of them, and they stop every commercial buses. And when they stop, whenever they stop me, I know there is a vehicle behind me. They want to use me to stop. And immediately I move, I look in my rear mirror, I see them asking people to disembark. And they will search. I think they already know there are certain signs they look out for. Because there was a day, they stopped the Marwa, this Keke Marwa, and the 3 people at the back, they left the one in front and said, these 3 should come down. And they searched their bag and their pocket. All the 3 had substance. A lady they found with tramadol, well dressed, And you know, I had to park and, you know, engage them. How do you get to, they laugh. It's just some of them are users. When you look at their eye, you will know. Maybe he just finished using it, he's having one for the road. Or it's just some of them are girlfriends to these Yahoo boys. They help them to go and buy. And there is a way they conceal it. Like they also, they already, every day they pick people up, every day. And that's all over Lagos. At least I can speak on some part of Ogun that I've been to, like in Shagamu. Immediately you descend that bridge at Sabo, they are there. They will search everybody that they suspect.
Only God knows where we will be without them.
Without them. And these are in the last 2 years or so. You need to know. These boys that used to stay on the road and smoke anyhow before, gradually, they are becoming more cautious of. And the implication of this is that less of our innocent children are exposed to these things. Yes. There was a time in my community, it was a big war. On completed buildings, boys would gather there and start smoking. And I would say, no, you can't smoke here. It's too close to my house. I have children.
There was even a policeman that was always going to smoke Indian hemp in Ojodu, one building in Ojodu. I don't want to mention the street. We had to confront him at a point.
No, you can't do
around
this.
1 o'clock, maybe that's his break time. He would just go into that computer as if he wants to urinate. And you see him holding his trouser like somebody wants to urinate. Meanwhile, it's Indian hemp that he wants to go and smoke. So the next time we are passing through the place, you just see him holding his string. You know, you now envelop the whole area in the smoke of cannabis. So we had to confront that. What's the meaning? And you are wearing uniform. Why are you such a black leg in the police? You are wearing uniform and you are smoking Indian hemp. You are supposed to catch people smoking it.
So
it has not been
you will tell them to run when police is
no, he stopped using that place. He stopped using that small building.
I mean, when he sees people smoking it, instead of catching them, he
will tell them to give him his
their comrades.
He'll collect his own share now.
So we have to chase those boys away because we have children in our own houses. And more innocent children are getting exposed to this. They will ask questions. What is this?
Curiosity now.
Curiosity. And you see, that is why we should appreciate what Marwa and his team are doing and appeal, beg those who are calling for legalization to please spare our society the ills that come with such things.
Bikio, your final take before we go.
Yes, I commend General Marwa for the good work that he's doing. I think that Nigeria should be grateful to him. He's a Nigerian hero. Be grateful to him, and we want to encourage him to not relent. Catch them wherever they are. They now use courier companies to pass drug around. Catch the courier companies as well. Let people pay for dealing in illicit drug in our country. That has to happen. When you sustain this effort, the rate of prevalence will go down and we'll be happier people. Smoking Indian hemp as if it's
you spoke about courier service. I want to say it on TV that these NDLEA boys should pay attention to these bike men, dispatch riders. They are now agents of.
Yes, then they are the people that I'm talking about now.
Dispatch riders, please, when you see them on the road, check all those their boxes very well.
Yes.
I've had
no, they catch them. They've been catching them.
Please.
And then what the NDLEA also proposed on time that every politician seeking elective position
should go for drug check.
It is important. That has to continue so that if you are no, they've started.
They are checking them.
They've started. They started.
They will catch plenty. They will not tell us.
No, even General told me when I interviewed that some of them they just put them through rehabilitation.
But they will still go.
They are not doing it to go and announce.
Okay, just to know that we know you are.
Yeah, so they will subject you to rehabilitation so that you can be cleansed of your.
Most of our lawmakers here and there.
Gentlemen.